Constructing your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join real estate entrepreneur and mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
Guys, welcome back to Construct Your Life. We didn't want to waste anything on the pre-talk, so we're just going to have it on the podcast. So take two, internet's working this time. And here's the great thing about take two on this one. I know that me and Mark are not going to talk about business whatsoever. So I'm very excited that I don't even have to go there with them. Maybe we will, maybe we won't.
We could. If you want, we can.
So we got Marc Picard in the house. How are you doing, sir?
I'm very good. Thank you. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm fantastic, man. I'm really good. Busy as ever, in a lot better place than when we talked last time. So, for the people, a little bit about you, what you do, and then we'll kind of get going from there.
Yeah. So I'm a digital marketer and life coach. I'm a retired Cirque du Soleil performer. I retired back in 2017. And I sort of fell into digital marketing by accident because I always have been an entrepreneur myself. And I failed on one particular project in Vegas. But like when everything is lined up, you find a gap in the market, you find there's a need, you find everything is lined up, but it just didn't work. And afterwards, I was like, why it didn't work? And it was because of my digital marketing skills. And we're talking back in 2014. So, digital marketers, they didn't really exist at that time, So I simply started studying digital marketing because I thought it was a survival skills, and in life, you need to speak English and know digital marketing. That's the two basic survival skills that you need. So I fell into it by accident, and I fell into life coaching by vocation, maybe a little bit like you. Life experience, maybe a karma. I don't know if you're like me. Do you, in a party, do you always end up with the most depressed person ever, and you end up doing a sort of like little pep talk or mindset coach, in the middle of a party? That was my karma all my life.
1,000%. I think I've been coaching since I was like 16, to be honest with you. Kind of become the Dr. Phil of every place I've ever worked. Here's what I do know about myself, and it's a weird skill that my mom passed on to me. I can be in a room full of 300 people, and I can tell you how everybody's feeling.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah. That's a basic skill for a life coach. And by the way, maybe you should give a shot at artistic direction or things like that. You could be surprised if one day, you have a project, you just want to do something for fun. I would be curious to see you as a director, directing actors, because it's linked. Artistic direction and life coaching are very, very linked.
Well, what's interesting, right, is there's a part of me in my head. Like we're building multiple businesses right now that with the conclusion of an exit, within the next 6 to 7 years of multiple businesses to set us up for success, and to really do what we want to. I really think that the back half of my life is going to be a wild ride. And what I mean by that is I am attracted to songwriting. Like I'm attracted to writing, like we're writing a book right now. I've been toying around with writing. I really love photography all of a sudden, and so I love musicals, like no bullshit. And I really think that the back half is going to be some interesting, like you said, director kind of songs, maybe attached to stories. Like I love the art of storytelling. I'm a good storyteller. Yeah. So I really think there's going to be an interesting couple years, in the back half.
I think any entrepreneur should take, or any business people should take an acting class at some point in their life. Because you want it or not, acting is the art of lying. First, by lying to yourself. And I'm not saying that business people are liars. It's not that. It's just that when you do stuff like negotiating, and you don't want to spend more than that, and it's give and take, give and take. There's a lie into it. If you negotiate for a car, even if you have 100 grand in your bank account, if you don't want to spend more than 5 grand, well, you're lying. You have the money. You know what I mean? So you need to play your cards wisely, and acting can be a super powerful tool for real estate investors. And I'm coaching people. I manage podcasts and all that, and the feedback that I have from my clients is they apply what I teach them in acting, not only during their podcast, but in their life in general. You know what I mean?
Well, think of it from this context. Not everything, and this is something I'm working on. Not everything about what's going on needs to be shared. Not everything needs to be shared, right? And so, as I spent 20 years in hospitality and hotels and bars and everything.
Oh, well, dude, so you know about lying.
Yeah, I'm so comfortable in any room because and now we're talking about north of 350 podcasts. I just flick the camera on and go. I don't really care anymore because the repetition, because of the layers of conversations that you had. And so here's what I do know. I know that people do business with people they like. And there's a lot of people that are very analytical out there that do business based on the numbers, which I think is very important. You can't be over emotional about business. But I do know that a lot of people, and me included, get deals done, maybe not at the price point that they wanted, because people just are happy to sell to me or happy to do business with me. Like
it's that gut feeling thing. People don't listen to their gut feeling. And the other day, we're talking about your branding and your marketing and all, and we're talking about, when it comes to branding, we're talking about gut feeling. So, I'm always saying there's no such thing as a product. There's just your perception of the product, your gut feeling towards the product, and the thing is, we don't listen that gut feeling anymore with human being because we intellectualize everything. But we're connected to a deeper intelligence that you just feel the person, yes or no. Of course, you need to do all the math and numbers need to make sense. But if there's something inside you that doesn't feel quite right, you're not sure. It generates a lot of stress. You wake up in the middle of the night. Maybe that's not a deal for you. Maybe that's not the right partner for you, So I think, and to go back to acting, it's linked to acting because you learn how to read the characters. You learn how to read the human beings, So
well, on a interesting level, you learn to read. I think more importantly, you need to learn to read yourself. And understand that I truly believe that self-awareness is really the only skill that one needs to be successful in life. And what I mean in the context to say that nobody's perfect. Nobody's ever going to be perfect. But if you're self-aware and you're okay to be coachable and take feedback, then every day you can work on becoming a better version of yourself. And it's interesting. I was talking to somebody, I was on somebody's podcast yesterday and we were telling my story of my drug addiction and everything. And I realized, and this is something we talk about in my other podcasts, and you'll love this. I realized that people do something a lot, and I don't think they realize they do it. And what we call it is selective vulnerability. And selective vulnerability means that I'm sharing this part of the story so I can sound really good over here instead of just sharing my story. And what I've realized is I'm happy to share my story to inspire others, but me personally, I don't identify with the drug addict Austin anymore. And so I'm not gonna go back there. Like, I've done the work. I'll share my story. Yeah. But for me, I've moved so far from it. And people spend 20 years hanging in that I'm still an addict thing.
Yeah. And I always say, because I worked also with people that deal with addiction, I always say you need to see the addiction. You need to see yourself with compassion. That doesn't mean, you need to pat yourself in the back. No, you need to look at the addiction as a strategy. That was the strategy that Austin used in the past to go through his day. Maybe it was, I don't know what type of drug you were taking. It's not important in the context, but probably you put a whole system into place where drugs were a reward and or alcohol was a reward or and then you got into the habit, but that was your survival strategy at that time. And it's because of that, Austin, that you become this one that you are right now. So you need to be very, very grateful to have chosen addiction, to get to the point that you are right now. You're helping hundreds, thousands of people on a daily basis. That's freaking powerful. And without the addiction, without your backstory, you wouldn't be there. You wouldn't be talking to me right now. You wouldn't have a podcast. You wouldn't be a life coach. So it's super important to see any defect that we have as a gift, as a strategy that we use at that time with the amount of knowledge we had and experience we had in our life. That's how you see yourself, with compassion. And to go back to your point with dialogue, to get to that point, you need to enter in a dialogue with yourself and saying, oh, I was using as a strategy. Oh God. Oh wow. I was doing that. You need to have that inner dialogue in order to move forward.
Yeah, and it's interesting. There's a great book that kind of starts the conversation, is like Mindset by Carolyn Dweck, and it's really, we make it super complicated, but you're either in a growth mindset or you're in a fixed mindset.
Yeah.
And if you're in a fixed mindset, you're not going anywhere. And if you're in a growth mindset and you say, hey, you know what? Today wasn't a great day, but I'm gonna pick myself up, and tomorrow I'm gonna start afresh, and I'm gonna get after it. And just to give you a window, last time we talked, I told you I was overwhelmed because there was a lot of opportunities, and you challenged me to do the meditation thing for 5 minutes and all that stuff. And
I just told you to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you told me to shut the fuck up.
I never said meditation.
Which is very hard.
Shut the fuck up on a chair 5 minutes a day. And I think, by the way, anyone that is listening to this podcast should do it. I challenge anyone to shut the fuck up 5 minutes a day on a chair. Don't even call it meditation. No music allowed, nothing. Just do that. Anyway, go back to your point.
Well,
sorry.
I was in Costa Rica, and I did really bad because you're traveling, and I just couldn't bring it. But so last Monday, so 9-10 days in a row, I've done it. And not only did I do it, I added in journaling too, which I've never been good at consistency. And I've been working 12, 15-hour days right now because we're really busy and we're traveling. And I feel like a million times better. There's a calm about the confidence that doesn't feel so flighty anymore. It feels grounded in my morning routine. Like I'm getting up at 4 a.m. So I'm getting up an hour earlier, taking that extra time. But also doing so one thing that's changed my life is I have a body work guy, a dude that's knows Reiki and energy and everything. And so he comes over once a week, and he does an hour and a half meditation with low beta music. And I literally like meditate or fall asleep the whole time. And it just slips. It's like a full body reset, full mind and body reset. And like, it's hard to explain, but it just, you know what? It's not hard to explain. When you're not sitting in silence, then there's no peace. Like that 5 minutes, whether it be 5 minutes or 3 minutes or 6 minutes or 10 minutes, it's a grounding force in your day. And it's almost like, in essence, it's almost like you're choosing yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Because when the people have stress problem, they always think that, okay, I'll need to get this done, get this fixed. I'll need to reorganize that. I'll need to sell this business. I'll need to fire this employee. I gotta do this. And then, or once I'll get in vacation, then I'll feel less stressed. Mm-hmm. That's a really short-term strategy. It's going to work for a little bit, but it's not going to work long-term. I'm more in favor of tackling the problem at source, which is just your state of mind. It's not a mindset; it's a state of mind. It gives a reference for your whole body. Your whole body on how it feels to be calm. It's a little bit. I like to compare it to, imagine that someone only eats fast food, McDonald's, three meals a day, 7 days a week. Okay, if you give that person from one day to the other a good meal, full of nutritious stuff, that person won't feel full. He won't feel like this is food, because he trained himself or herself to eat fast food, and for him or her, that's food. Stress acts this on the same way on the mind. Stressful people see stress everywhere. They will add that special ingredient of stress, and no matter what they're going to do. Okay. Cooking is going to be a source of stress because everything is going to burn. Hey, I need to do this, and then they're going to wake up, and taking a shower is stress because and then the towel and everything is stressful because they read life through stress. It becomes normal for them to be stressful all the time. So there is no way for them, unless they start practicing a little bit of like just shutting up 5 minutes a day. It's very difficult for them to manage stress. You know what I mean? And
we become the society of I'll do it when. When I get here, when I get there, I'll give to charity, when I get rich. No. Tony Robbins says, if you don't give when you have 1,000, you won't give when you have 1,000,000. And you're just enacting habits in your lifestyle that are based off your core values instead of acting towards goals and metrics. It's totally different thinking.
Absolutely. As I said, it's more of a state of mind than a mindset. And that's the same reason, like, I know you're a triathlete, you love Ironman and ultra endurance sport. I'm into ultra running. So I run a half marathon a day. And I posted a video, I think last week on that, where I was explaining why I was running so much. Is I run so much to train myself to remain an observer of my suffering and my joy, because when you run, like, when you run an ultra race, let's say 100 kilometers nonstop, you don't sleep for a day, 2 days, those races are really, really hardcore. If you identify to every single part of your body that burns or hurt, you will never finish the race, and you will never want to do another one. So at some point, last Sunday I was running 50 kilometers. So that in miles, that would be around 30 miles, something like that. And I did that video on my Instagram that I explained that if I was identifying to every part of my body that is hurting right now, I would just call my wife and say, come and pick me up. And it's not about being a wimp or being strong. It's not that. It's just, dude, step back and, okay, there's pain. Bon. Let's put a step in front of the other. And it's something I apply in my life in general. If I go through stressful emotion, or if I go through rage, or because I have those emotions as well, there's something very deep inside me that knows it's not forever. And this rage, it's not me. It's just an emotion. It's just the pain. It's just a knee that is pulling a little bit when I run too long. That's it. That's all. Those people where when you say you're an ultra runner, most of the people always say, yeah, I would like to run, but my knees, I would like to run, but I have no time. I would like to run, but blah, 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 but my back, there's always an excuse, but it's just because they identify to the pain. For them, they are pain itself. So they put a limitation on themselves. I don't know if it's something you experience, because I know you're into Ironman and you did a little bit of triathlon.
Well, think of it from this context. The fever is body's way of telling us that something's wrong, and not what they don't understand is the fever actually fixes. Like, hey, I'm not sick anymore. I broke my fever, right? Yeah. So it actually fixes it. The fever fixes your body. Well, people are so quick because they don't want any discomfort. Give me a pill. Instead of just letting it be. Perfect example. You want to know how you fix your gut? You stop fucking eating. Like the absence of eating. I fast for 24 hours yesterday. I feel great. Some days I do three days. Doesn't matter. We become the society of everything. I'm going to do this, or I'm going to chase my dreams when I get to here. And what you don't realize is every day that you're waiting, you're not choosing yourself, and you're living in your comfort. Because here's what they don't tell you. It's very comfortable back there. And I'll lay this on everything, business, relationships, everything. It's very easy to stay in a loveless marriage, to stay in a marriage that's not serving you anymore, because the ramifications of breaking up assets, losing family members, losing friends is very fucking scary, right? But I made a choice at 37 years old that the rest of my life, the 50 years, for our part in that 13 years, we had served each other. Great. But moving forward, who we were becoming wasn't going to serve me for the next 50 years of my life. And so I could make a choice to stay in comfort, or I could do the hard thing and choose to be happy and push forward. And she's happy now, and I'm happy now. And it's very scary. But I venture to guess that 60%, maybe more, are in marriages or relationships that don't serve them because they're so scared of the outcome or the other side of that. Because what that looks like is walking down a hallway with no doors and no lights on. And you have to have enough belief. And this is entrepreneurship. This is in relationships. This is losing weight. You know who I love the most? I was thinking about this morning when I was at the gym. You know who I love the most? The person that's 150 pounds that's at the gym.
Oh, yeah.
That's the person I love the most. You want to know why? Because they're there and people are talking about them. But they're committed to their process.
Yeah.
And I applaud them. And I champion them because they're willing to step out of their comfort zone to say, I want to do better. I got here, but I'm not going to stay here.
Absolutely. And sometimes it doesn't take much. I had a meeting with someone this week, a little like digital coaching, you know what I mean? I take the person for an hour and we go through all the Instagram and all. And I was like, hey, you know that you just have to change one line in your bio and your life can change? Because I was asking, hey, she's a painter. She's very, very good. And I was like, why you don't sell them? Maybe you won't make a ton of money. It doesn't matter. But why you don't sell them? You're already posting every day about it. You're passionate about it. This is who you are. Why you're not selling them? She said, yeah. I'm going to do a whole business plan. And I was thinking about maybe this summer, starting to selling a little bit on Instagram, but at the same time, there's like Pinterest that interests me. And but. And I was like, hey, I'm not asking you to like build a complicated website. I'm not asking you to rent an art gallery. I'm not asking you to create an event in the middle of a pandemic. I'm asking you to, in your bio, to buy my piece of art, DM me. That's it. That's all. Freaking 15 letters that could change your life. But no, because it's the same thing. It's the mindset of the comfort zone. It's way better to stay in your comfort zone and not doing it and not moving forward. On the other hand, I can have someone, I had another a Cirque du Soleil performer that asked me for a coaching last week because I'm in love with Cirque du Soleil performer. I was a performer myself and I love to just give my time to them. And I just told him, I said, dude, just clean a little bit your grid, just change your bio a little bit. Freaking guy gained 150 followers in a week. There's no hack, there's nothing. He just clean up a little bit, rewrite the bio so it's clear what he wants to do and where he's going. Boom. People are like attracted to that. So on one side, I had someone that wasn't ready to step outside of her comfort zone for growth. And on the other side, freaking Cirque du Soleil performer that learned all of his life by falling in his face and breaking his bone. It was like, oh, hell yeah. I'm going to add a line, ting, tang, ting, tang, and boom, 150 followers in not even a week, and real followers. It's
something that I've chosen to do in my life, whether or not it serves other people. But for me, just to explain my thing is I run, 150 miles at something. And then once I feel like I've established consistency in that thing, then I step back and I look for air. Meaning my 1 year podcast is next week. And, we will have released 186 episodes. I've got, 250 recorded. We've got a second podcast with another, 30. Wow. And so it's like, I just went full board. Let's go. Let's have conversations. And then we'll see what it looks like on the backside of this. And how you can use that in your own life for anybody that's listening is there's a guy, his name is fucking Jesus Christ. I don't know, but he's an ultra marathon too. His name's Chad something. I can't think of his name, but he was in the Navy SEALs. Chad Wright.
Okay.
And they were talking about how in Bud's training in Navy SEALs, they had to run like a lot of miles. It was like this insane shit on the beach, like very hard. Like, and they were like, how the hell did you run that many miles? And he goes, it was so easy. And they go, what? He goes, it was 1 mile at a time.
Exactly. Or even
He
one
said,
step at a time.
Yeah. He said 1 foot in front of the other. Like, but what we do instead, like, I'll just give you a visualization what we do instead. No, we throw down the boulder. We put the mountain in front of us. Our workout clothes are in our drawer with the lights off. Our shoes are, in the back of the closet behind like 7 things in the attic. Instead of setting ourselves up for success, which means the night before putting out your stuff and saying, you know what, I don't want to today. You know what somebody told me yesterday who does Ironmans too? I was on his podcast. He said, there's no chance. There's no chance. He's 40 years old. There's no chance that I wanted to work out every time that I've worked out. But I tell you one thing. There's not one time. He said, not one time, not 1 minute, not one time that I regret ever doing one of those workouts. Ever.
Of course.
And so if that's the case, then those times that you don't want to are really the times that make you. And people need to understand that.
And those are the best training ever. Hey, I want to say half of the time I look at my shoes half an hour and I'm like, I don't want to go. I don't want to. And where I live in Spain, in Catalonia, and there's no flat doesn't exist. So like my average runs is like half marathon and plus close to 1,000 meters. That's like my average daily run, which is a fair run for someone that lives on a flat country, for example. And sometimes I'm like, I don't want to go. I'm so tired. I just ate. I just went. And my wife is saying, but don't go. You don't need to. And that's when I'm like, no fucking way. I'm going. And that's exactly what I need to to go, because she's like, hey, you can be a lazy motherfucker. It's okay. And I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be a fucking lazy motherfucker. Screw that. And I'm going, and I go every day. And again, the best runs are always the one that I didn't want to do.
How's everybody doing, guys? I want to talk today about our sponsor for May. A good friend of mine, Mark Simpson, runs a company, boostly.co.uk. Guys, everybody knows that I'm in the short-term rental space for many years. And I think one of the quotes he said to me was, you can't build your real estate on somebody else's property. And it really resonated with me because we are so reliant on an Airbnb, a HomeAway, these systems, right? And headed into this year, it's very important that we get direct bookings, and they're the best in the business of this. So in 2021, everybody needs to be building a website to create direct bookings, and you can't rely on Airbnb. Plus, you're giving them a ton of money. And so 64% of all the websites are powered by WordPress. And these private message companies that offer you the free website, they're not on WordPress. And so it's this trick that they're doing. And, these guys are the best in the business, the best in the world. And I'm not just saying that because I use them. I'm saying that because they are. It's the simple fact is that they service over 600 clients worldwide. And you need to get this done. And you can get it started for as little as $99 a month. And you could do that with 1 property, 100 properties, but you need to be capturing emails. You need to be sending direct marketing back to these guests. And the way to do that is to create a website. And these guys are the best in the business. When you get direct bookings, you're saving money every year and the profit margins can be exponential. And so if you want to learn more about them, head on over to boostly.co.uk/constructyourlife. Not only is Mark a great entrepreneur and CEO, but he's a great person as well. Well, what's interesting, and I figured this out about myself, and I think I accidentally happened into it, actually. When you become a coach, and you have a podcast that fucking says construct your fucking life. By the way, That one's eaten me a lot of times. I was on the golf course with a bunch of investors and I was in a bad mood, after I played bad, and they were like, that doesn't look like you're constructing your life to me, fucking yelling across the thing. But what I've kind of done is I realized that in order to inspire people, in order to actually impact people, it's by example. It's not by telling them what to do. And so I've kind of created this social accountability where I don't have a choice but to be the best version of myself. So in an actual workaround, I'm actually pushing myself. And it's not, I don't have one person holding me accountable. I've got thousands of people holding me accountable. Right. Because they're getting their drive, they're getting their inspiration off of me. And I told a friend the other day, like, I don't have a choice but to share my story. Like, because there are people that need it. And I'll say the same thing to everybody that's listening. The fact that you think you don't have a story to tell is what's holding you back. Because I guarantee you that there's somebody out there that needs to hear that story because it might change their life. And so by you keeping it inside, you're being selfish.
Absolutely. And we live in the best time ever. And that's my new mission, I think. Man, we live in the best time ever to start promoting yourself. It's free. It's free. That's it. You just need a little Instagram account, a little LinkedIn account, a little Facebook account, like just one. Pick one.
Yeah.
Pick a mission, okay, what am I good at? What do I have that is unique? What's my gift? What's my passion? Whatever. Pick that, stick to it, be consistent, and you're going to be successful. That's it. That's all. There's no hack. The people that sells like crack the code and crack the algorithm and blah, 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 blah. This is all bullshit. It doesn't exist. There is no hack. You respect the guidelines of the platform. Know your why, the exact why, you're doing that. Okay. Pick the topic, stay on topic, be consistent, and you're going to fucking crush it. That's it.
Well, what's interesting is we become a society, and I'm not saying everybody, but all these guys that are telling you that they're successful in business and everything, like they've been doing business for like 15, 20 years. And so like we've become a society that nobody's allowed to grow anymore. Like everything needs to be perfect right out of the gate. You need to have the right lighting, the right everything. And what you don't understand is I guarantee you, I've got 19,050 fans on Instagram. I'm just using myself as an example. Not everybody follows me. Not everybody shows my shit, but I would take my audience over having 20,000 fans that didn't give a fuck about me because I bought them or something like that. Because a concentrated group of people that actually are invested and have watched the journey are more inclined to say great things about you. And when you look at business as a whole, like referrals and recommendations are gold. That's everything. And if you don't have those in any type of business, well, then you don't really have anything. You have a transactional relationship of happenstance.
Yeah. Absolutely. Because you become the added value for them, They identify to you, you inspire them, and that's why they follow you. But it's really, I think you said it pretty well. It's inspiring. You're inspiring the people. Personally, on my Instagram, I'm about, life coaching, digital coaching, and trail running. That's it. And I really firmly believe that if everybody was going out in nature once a day, the world will be a better place. And this is what I preach, and I will always preach that. And when one person, just one, I don't need 1,000 likes. I don't care. I want one person that say, today I watched your video and I went out for a run. Man, I'm flying high for a week if someone tells me that. Even if it's my friend that I know from, it doesn't matter. I inspired someone to step outside today and go in nature. That's my mission. That's my why, And so that needs to be very clear when you go on social media. Your why is very, very, very freaking clear. So people identify to it, and that's how you create the impact that you're creating, So people that don't take advantage of this context right now, they're just dumb. I'm so freaking sorry. Like, it's the best time ever to step outside and look inside yourself and saying, what do I have to offer to the world? And give it away. That's it. Just make the world a better place, and you're going to be successful. But somehow people hold back.
So, okay, in that context, to give tactical advice to people, how do they get started? if they wanted
Okay.
to get started. If they
So-
wanted to grow, maybe they already have an Instagram account for 3 years, but they really haven't used it, or they have LinkedIn, they really haven't used it. How do they get started?
Okay, so the first thing I would recommend is really sit down and clarify the reason why you are on social media, and that applies to anyone, even either if you want to crush it or just spend your free time on Instagram. Just clarify the why. Okay, why you're there? Are you there to sell a product? If you're there to sell a product, why do you sell it? Because people won't buy your product if the reason is not clear. The people don't buy the product, they buy the reason why you're selling it. So clarify the why. Usually that's a very, very simple mission statement. People can go on my Instagram profile. We'll put the link below, but it's very clear that I'm about, nature, trail running, and growth. So in digital marketing or in life coaching. Okay. Once you select those two, not more than 3 topics, stick to it. Stick to it. Don't go all over the place looking for content. Post less, but post wisely. Post always linked to your why you're doing it. What's your mission? All right. After that, it's a matter of being consistent. And that's where the people fail. That's where their account goes all over the place. Their account goes all over the place because they're lacking content. They feel they need to post like 5 times a day and they're lacking content. So then here's a picture of my children, and there's a picture of a bird, and there's a picture of my last real estate deal, and here's a picture of my new shoes, and here's a picture of the sky, and because they're lacking content. But if you clarify your why, after that you can organize yourself, because you have 2-3 topics. So you can literally go on 1 day a month, just dedicate 1 day a month, produce your content for the rest of the month, because you're on topic. It's going to be very easy, and you stick to it. You're consistent, and that's it. That's what I would do for anyone that is starting or wants to break through. It's always linked to the why, man. If the why is clear, everything falls into place. And that's your mission as a life coach as well, Austin, to clarify the why. There's some people, they're so successful in business, they're multimillionaire, and you're like, why are you doing it? And they're like, wait, what do you mean why? To make money? You're like, no, because here you go. Here's $1 billion. What are you going to do with $1 billion now? What are you? What's your core values? What do you stand for? The why. This is why digital marketing and life coaching are and personally they work super well together, because once the why is clarified, then the client know what to post, when to post, and it becomes very natural. It's not an effort. Right? It's not an effort for you, Austin, to grab your phone and make a video about a subject, a book that you just read, right? You do that sometimes. Mm-hmm. Or just a conversation and you share that thing. It's not difficult. It's not like you're like, oh, what am I going to post today? So you don't ask the question. The why is clear, pick up the phone, make the video, boom, boom, boom. That's it.
Yeah. And half the time, I coach people, but half the time I feel like I'm a branding expert too. Like, I'm like, you need to be doing this. Yeah. You need to be doing that. It's what I'm doing for my companies that I own, creating the message, sharing the story. And so at the end of the day, when I connect, let's say with like high level investors that are like highly successful, like we don't talk business ever. We talk about like, why are you doing this? What's the big picture? And they resonate with my why more than they resonate with my business acumen. They resonate more with, look, at the end of the day, you can't compete with me, because my why is so damn big that I'm working an infinite sum game. That's why I have the energy. The reason that you don't have the energy is because your why is attached to some goal that as soon as you hit it is going to move the sticks again. And that's why you can't beat me. Yeah.
Absolutely. I can say I've achieved my professional goals at a very young age. My goal since I was a child was to work for Cirque du Soleil and be a main character at Cirque du Soleil. And so my why, my whole life since I was 8 years old, was, working for Cirque du Soleil. and I achieved my goal. I think I started working for Cirque at 24 years old, 24, 25 years old. I think. Yeah, something like that. Once I got there, I was like, oh no, now I want to be an artistic director. And I was doing artistic coaching on other shows and blah, blah, blah. And I wanted to climb up the corporate ladder. Until one day I was in Vegas. So if you go in Vegas, you'll see my pictures all over the place. They still use my face as, I'm in hotel and taxis and things like that. And one day I was in my car in Vegas, and I looked at a touristic bus, and I looked at a dude, and it was me. It was me on the board, and I didn't recognize myself. And that's when I realized that maybe I should find a new why.
Oof. Wow.
That's an insanely difficult feeling to say, like, your whole life since I was 8 years old. Hey man, every time I was jumping in cold water, I was saying to myself, if I don't jump in cold water, I'll not work for Cirque du Soleil. It was that much program it was in my DNA, And when I get to that point in my car, looking at myself on an ad, and I was like, shit, I really didn't recognize myself. I was like, okay, time for a shift. And it was a huge shift. And I'm so happy right now because, after achieving your goals and being successful and sort of touching that, let's say, jet set life, you realize that life comes down to very simple stuff, And now I live in Spain and I have a freaking simple life. Like I'm pretty sure that most of your listeners right now would freak out to see my life. It's yesterday I shoveled 2 tons of shit, literally, because, I have horse shit back there that I need to put in my garden. And that's what I did because I grow my food, I have a small house, humble house. I have a normal car. I have a very, very simple life. But man, I have all the time in the world to run a half marathon a day. Okay. And you know what's my biggest leverage? I'm simple. I live a simple life. My biggest leverage is I don't need to run for clients. I don't have those that expensive lifestyle that required to say yes to everyone. If I say yes to someone, it's because I really, really believe in that person, because I can choose. There's a lot of digital marketer out there that they just say yes to everything, and I have the luxury to choose, and I have the luxury. I design myself a life that I really love, and that's why my agency is called Stupid Simple Digital Marketing, because I really, really, really highly valued simplicity in life. So yeah, to go back to the why, at some point you go through cycles that you think your why is pretty clear, and then boom, you reach certain milestones, and you're like, oh, okay, I need to redefine new goals, and I need to redesign my life. And that's cool to go through those changes in life. I think it's hard, it's painful when it happened, though. It's really, really painful when you reach your lifetime goal and you're like, oh shit, what next? Shit, I feel depressed inside. Shit, I need my joint every day. I need my beer every day. I need my bottle of wine every day. Oh, I need more than a joint now every day to go through that pain,
Well, it's so fucking amazing what you just said there for the couple minutes, because, like, in essence, what you're describing is what I'm trying to teach my clients. And the reason, what you said there is, like, I don't run for my clients, like, I choose my clients. And, like, that's so important, because, like, if you look at the scale that we're talking about doing our current business, like, it's very large, but there's a why behind the company that's bigger than the company. So it's a need that we're filling, but we also know that we've set a timeline when we want to sell the business. And so in this moment in time, what it can give us and impact so many people is way more important than the actual transactions of the business. And too many times people create ways that they're making money, but the only way they're making money is because their costs are out of control, or they're trying to fund a life that doesn't serve them, or they're getting the next new thing and this, that, and the other. And what's interesting about people is that I don't think that they realize that everything in their life is a choice.
Oh yeah.
It's all a choice.
Absolutely.
And there's too many times that we're in a situation and we're upset. And if we just slow down for 1 minute and remember that we're the fucking asshole that got us in this situation in the first place, because everything's a choice. Look, guys, when I had 27 Airbnbs in 7 states and I was the Airbnb guy, my coach told me, this is what the fuck you wanted. You wanted to be the Airbnb guy. How you like it now? Well, I fucking hate my life. Well, then you got to reconstruct it. And so I build every one of my businesses now with the thought of me firing myself out of that business.
Yeah.
Like, and everybody's like, I have no idea how you do everything you do. How do you run multiple businesses? How do you do this? I say, because I don't do the day-to-day.
Yeah.
I'm an integral part in the marketing, the sales, the vision, but that's it. And the vision is gone here. And then they go, blah, 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 make it happen. And when I read the book Rocket Fuel, that kind of cemented that idea to me. But there's perception and then there's reality. And what I don't think people understand is your life is seasons. And what I told myself yesterday in my journal was, you've waited your whole life for these next 7 years. Stay focused, create impact, create financial freedom, and then you can go do whatever you want to go do. And
I think you're already doing what you want.
100%. But when I got divorced, right?
Yeah.
Lost the house, lost the dog. I had 7 boxes, my bike, and some clothes, right? And like in a laptop. And I realized, like, fuck, life's pretty awesome. Like I'm not like trapped by all this bullshit that I got to pay for, right?
Yeah.
And you're right. I am, like, here's the weird thing. I'm actually stopping recording the podcast for a couple months because I've done so many episodes. I've got some business stuff I need to work on, but there's a part of me that's like already mad about it because I love this so much. Like I really do love that. And so I don't know how long I'll stop. I hope I take a little break, but what I'm saying is, if you love this, then just keep doing this. Like, and I think sometimes we're like, well, there's got to be more. Yeah. And I agree with that. You can always push towards more, but like, there's a video the other day. Everybody's chasing purpose and passion. That's the trigger words, purpose and passion. They said, how about you change the way you look at that? How about you chase what gives you energy?
Yeah.
And so these, my 8 podcasts today, I feel better and smarter and more enlightened when I leave those 8 podcasts. Everybody's like, I don't know how you could do that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because I want to support these people. I want to share their story and I want you to hear their story because something might click.
Yeah.
And that one word, that one sentence might change your life. And it might not be today. It might be 3 years from now, but we will always have this conversation, you and I. And people don't realize there's a bigger meaning to all this and than just 2 dudes just jabbering into a mic.
I know, exactly. It doesn't take, it just takes a spark. It just takes that very a fraction of a second when you're like, oh wow, that's how I experience my life as well. Something that really resonated with me when you said you divorced, it reminds me when I left Vegas. So I bought my house in Vegas in 2009, 2010. So at the lowest of 2010. So, at the best time ever. I've made 150 grand on it in profit. Dude, I sold it with the furniture in it. I moved outside of my house with a guitar, 2 suitcases. That was my life. And I have 2 children. My wife was already in Spain. They moved a couple of months before me. I finished my contract. And when I stepped outside of my house in my car, with my guitar and my 2 suitcases, I felt so free because, and also my car, I drove it to the CarMax the morning after. I didn't give a fuck. I was like, "What you want to pay me shitty money for my car? Here you go. I don't give a fuck. That's it. That's yours. I don't want anything." And since then, I'm not attached to anything, material. We have a very minimalist lifestyle. a very low monthly cost, and we feel so free. We get caught up in that. We need stuff. We gotta that. You gotta have the big cars and the big house and the big lifestyle. And when you look at people like Steve Jobs that leaves Apple and go back to gardening, there's a lot of like massive successful business people that just step back and go back to very simple stuff. And
this is so weird, but what my favorite thing to do in like the entire world, and like my dream is I love to mow grass. Like I fucking love to mow grass. I'm a guy that like, here's what you need me to do. There's the result. Like, I love that. Yeah. And so in my head, like my dream, like, don't get me wrong, I'm going to have a nice office, going to have a workout room. Like that's probably my two most important areas, a nice hangout area. I dream of having like 100 acres and like 20 of it being grass, and just getting on that bad boy like Saturday morning and just listening to books.
You know what I love? On the same note, what I really love? I dream about it at night. So in my house, the heating system is with wood. So it's quite of an old house, beautiful house, but quite old. So we warm it with wood, cutting some wood, man. That feeling of taking the axe and block, and you see the log going clock. Oh,
it's a metaphor for life and the simplicity of a job well done, right?
And then you realize, when maybe I'm a little extreme in that, but you realize the value of stuff. So in the middle of the winter, here in the winter where I live, it gets to 15 degrees, maybe 15 Fahrenheit. So not freezing cold, but cold. Mm-hmm. But when it rains for a couple of days, all your wood gets wet, and you realize the value of having just smaller dry branches. I know it's dumb, but I'm so pleased when I'm like, okay, I'm full of little small dry branches. I'm good to go. Yeah. Same thing with compost. You know what I mean? Like I have there's a part of my land that it's wood, and I grow my food and all that, and I do a thing called permaculture. We can get into it a little later if you want, but it's more or less like it's the real organic shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't use pesticides, anything. I don't, it's all natural. And people will think I'm a freaking hippie, but I'm not that much of a hippie. Anyways, to go on that wood, when you walk in the wood and there's like that layer of black soil that are like decomposed pine needles. That top layer, that top soil, this is gold, man. This is gold. It's like you don't realize the value of this in a garden, that sometimes I pick up my car and I go on other places to pick up more of this thing, and because it feeds the plant and the plants. And when I grow that tomato, I know that every single drip of sweat that I spent to grow that tomato, I appreciate it. Mm-hmm. I really appreciate it. Like,
well, in the context that you'll love it. Like, so I don't drink anymore, but I sold wine for 20 years, and my favorite people, like on the planet, are winemakers, and it has nothing to do with how much money they have. It's because in essence, they're farmers, and somehow you've lost touch when that bottle hits the table and you're at a fancy restaurant, that like 30 hands have touched it.
Yeah.
And it was a grape, and it grew out of the ground.
Yeah.
And it was rainy, and then it was foggy. When I'm out there, like you wouldn't even recognize me when I'm out in the wineries, because I'm just like walking, and there's such an ecosystem to the beauty. And we as society, everything's more and more Zoom, this, that technology. We've lost the power of nature and something that becomes something or is made into something. And, somebody was saying the other day, like, we as people need context for everything. And it's like, can you just like drink the wine because it's great wine? Like, do you need to like dissect the shit out of it? Like, I can't stand that. And it's like, no, this is just great wine. Like, and just be there in the moment and respect the layers of the complexity of the wine, instead of like, well, I know, but it's only like $30. Well, who gives a shit? Like,
that's maybe I'm wrong and maybe I'm judging, and forgive me if I do, but I think that's an American thing, and I include Canada. So I'm from Montreal. I'm from Quebec, Canada, and I think because of the prohibition, I think wine have become that sort of not prohibited, but like high-end elite snob product.
Not in Spain.
Not in Spain, man. Spain is a fucking red liquid. You know what I mean? Like,
well, it's
people in Spain drink beer in the morning, man. It's not a big deal. They're not alcoholic.
When I went to Granada, I went to the best wine bar in southern Spain, and nobody was drinking bottles off the wine list. They're just drinking, Tinto and all this shit, And I found a 1994 Muga Reserve for like $18. That thing would be like $200 in the States. I bought like 4 bottles and just started pouring them for everybody at the thing. The woman at the place goes, yeah, nobody looks at the wine list. And I'm like, all these bottles have dust on them. Yes, I'll buy them. And it's just so wrapped in their culture, like that's just what you do. And we make great wine, and it's right there, right? And we've commercialized like the idea of all these products and everything. And what I mean by that is like my favorite thing to do is like, I think the next frontier for wine in America is Portuguese wine. Portuguese wine is amazing. I have no idea what it means, where it's from, but like, it's just really great red wine that's like $6, $8, and nobody drinks it. But when you can find these things and you can, and you know what, I'll tie this all back to your digital marketing. When you can share the actual story of who you are and your product, that's what people resonate with. It has nothing to do with the product.
Absolutely. And here I live surrounded with like own vineyard but really old, like actually, I'm going to make a video for you later today. I'm going to go for a run. I'm going to make a video. I'm going to post it and mention you.
Well, here's the deal. I'm going to come to Spain either this fall or next spring. And I don't run much because I shouldn't, because I have but we're going to go get some runs in. We're going to do it.
We should walk. Just walk. Let's walk.
We'll walk. There you go. We'll walk.
Dude, I'm 5 minutes walking from a wine place. Like it's ridiculous. Perfect. It's all over the place. It's the paradise of wine here. Paradise.
Okay. Perfect.
And we even take it for granted. So, do you know what makes a strong? How do you call the plant of the wine? The
grapes. You know what makes it?
The grapes. You know what?
Lack of water. Yes.
Exactly. More they suffer, better the wine.
Yes.
The better the wine.
Yes.
That's something to learn, to keep in your mind. The more they suffer, better the wine is.
They actually prefer not a lot of precipitation because they want it. And not only do they prefer lack of precipitation, they actually prefer hard soil, volcano, rock, granite, because they want it to push pull. So I'll wrap this all up in a bow and we'll get out of here. So if that's the case, if amazing wine is built off of struggle and survival, then my question to you listeners is, what struggle can you get in today that's going to make you better in the future?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. What's the struggle today?
That you can look at, and then you can look as a positive outlook. So if people want to find out more about you and your business, how would they do that?
So very simple, stupidsimpledigitalmarketing.com. And all the links will be there. And we'll put the link below somewhere. stupidsimpledigitalmarketing.com, because it should be stupid simple.
Yeah. I just had an idea. Me, you, Barry, and Mandy should do an Instagram live. I'm all about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes, that would be a fun group.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
I love it.
Absolutely. Hey man, before we stop, thank you for what you do, man, because I gather a few clients in the real estate field and other real estate investors that have podcasts as well. And I really appreciate your podcast because you're not scared to shake the hell out of investors and challenge them and talking about the real shit. You know what I mean? I really, really appreciate what you do in the the real estate podcast field. It's very cool. Keep going, and hey, tell your people to write a review on your on iTunes.
Yeah, I've kind of stagnated at 82. I would love to get over 100 reviews. So please, guys, if you love the episode, send it to your friends, write a review. Mark's right. It's one of those things. Look, I'm the type of guy, when I embark on something, it needs to matter. And I felt, after spending a lot of time listening to podcasts, I felt like the environment in the podcast sector in the real estate space is fucking boring as shit. And everybody's talking about cap rates and fuck all that shit. All my mentors are highly, highly successful investors. We never talk about real estate. Ever.
Dude, I'm okay. We'll never finish, but okay, I don't want to insult anybody. All right. Okay. I don't want to insult. We didn't get into that, but like, I study portfolio management, stocks and all that. Like I could be a stockbroker. Okay. I did that on the side to relax myself as a sideline while I was a performer. Okay. But anyways. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. I don't want to insult anyone, but real estate is fucking straightforward. That's the beauty of it. Okay. You buy something underpriced, you try to make it better and make some money along the way. Okay. Or you buy a cash flow like you would buy any other business, and you buy a cash flow. That's a really straightforward business. Of course, there's all those matrix and tax situation and all. Okay. And people are very smart in real estate and all, but it's very fucking straightforward. Very, very straightforward. So it's cool that you come, and you say that you don't really talk about real estate. You don't,
It's the emotion that you tie to the investing that's making it difficult. It's not the actual act of it.
Exactly.
You know what somebody said the other day? True fucking story. He said, I know, he posted on his stories and I DM'd him. He said, I know it's risky for me to be invested in real estate and Bitcoin. And all I sent back was, no, it's not. No, it's not. When you understand the metrics of how it works at the basic level, it's not risky.
No,
risky is spending your life in a motherfucking cubicle while your dreams are dying every fucking day. And you become less of a man and you're 60 pounds overweight. And then you wait on your deathbed and you regret your life. That's fucking risky.
Oh, yes, it is. It is. It is. I agree with you. That's a beautiful way to end this podcast.
Yes, I agree. Guys, dude, give me a review. Come on, Mark said it. Give me a review.
Of course.
Make sure you send it out.
It takes freaking 20 seconds. Come on. There's no reason why you shouldn't do it.
And you know what? I know that y'all have thought about it like 7 different times. Just this time, just take the action. You'll feel better, I promise. Guys, make sure you send us out to your friends. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Construct Your Life with Austin Linney. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and pay it forward by sharing with a friend. Most importantly, take this opportunity to start constructing your life by taking immediate action on what you learned. For show notes, resources, and more information on one-on-one coaching with Austin, visit constructyourlifepodcast.com.